I got all this reclaimed wood from a project a few weeks ago. And I got all these books that don't have a home. So I need a bookcase about yay tall right here, made out of scrap wood. And just like that, here it is. If you want to see how we built it, stay tuned, because that's what we're going to do today. Oh, welcome to another Memphis Monday. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't remember, we had a failed project where we tried to restore a little TV stand. Well, it was a big failure. It was made of that crappy press board, kind of cardboardy wood. Well, anyway, we're going to try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and we're going to take some of that reclaimed wood we got out of that thing, and we're going to build a little bookcase. I think you saw it on the intro. So let's knock off the chit chat and get to work. Here's a little drawing of the case we're going to try to build. I've got some dimensions in here, but really the dimensions are going to depend on how big our stock is. One feature this thing's going to have is it's going to have little flared legs, and it's going to have this piece of bottom trim here to keep things from falling out of the shelf. This is, I think, half-inch plywood. We'll use this somewhere, I think, for the back. And here's the composite board. It's real heavy and stiff, but if it gets wet, it's game over. So let me take some measurements here and cut up some of our stock. So here's our cut list so far for the small bookcase. The sides, and I came to these dimensions based on the size of my wood. So the top and bottom will be 28.5 inches long and 14 inches wide. The 2 sides will be 14 inches wide and 15 inches tall. The sides will have a 3/4 inch rabbet on the top and bottom to receive the top and bottom, and a 1/2 inch rabbet in the back to receive the back. Now the top and bottom will only receive 1 rabbet, and that will be the 1/2 inch rabbet that'll go in the back here. What I'll do is I'll cut these rabbets first, these 3/4 inch rabbets on the sides, and then I'll install a sacrificial fence to do these back rabbets here. Okay, let's get to cutting. Here are the boards I'm putting the 3/4 inch rabbets in. Got them marked here in pencil. I can go right in here. Let me show you how they're going to look. The rabbits will look like this. This is the side, and the rabbit will be like this. And then the top will fit right in here. So you won't see the end grain at the top. And this will be 3/4 of an inch deep and this is as wide here as I can make it. And here's the setup. This is 3/4 inch dado set. This is a trial piece right here. Let's run this through and see if this scheme works. Here's what that dado's then going to look like. This will be the side, and then the top will fit in there just like that, just like the bottom. Okay, let's do the real deal. Now, this is a takeaway. I know you're not as spacey as I am, but I like to mark where the rabbit or dado is going to go. So I'll get over the saw, get to thinking about something else, and put the dado on the wrong side, and then I'm backing up. So if you have to account for spaciness like I do, this is a good trick. So I got it set up in the dados, in the rabbits, and same drill here. I'm going to go around the inside and mark where I want that rabbit. Now this is an extra step that you don't really need to take, but it averts tragedy if you if you have that marked, then you know that that's exactly the place you want it, and you won't make a mistake. It gets really hairy sometimes. If you're putting rabbits around the edge for the back, and you got rabbits for the rabbit joints, and then maybe you got a couple of dados on the inside, and all those have to be on the correct side of the wood, and it's easy to get. This kind of saves some thinking, you know what I mean? This is some of the material I'm going to be making the back out of. And here's my test setup for that rabbit. It's going to, let's see, it's got to be a 1/2 inch deep, and then the width, we want to make that just about as wide as you can make it. And then my top and bottom will sit in that rabbit just like that. I don't know if this stuff is even cheaper than plywood or not. But I can see why they use it in factories, even if it costs more. It mills up real nice, doesn't split. See how it glues up. I might end up being a believer in this stuff. I had to turn the camera off there. My nails were too big. Okay, I'm putting the bottom in. Need some glue, don't I? I'm gonna put the bottom in with 18 gauge 1/4 inch staples. I want to make sure my bad side is out here. You saw me cutting this top here. It was kind of an unconventional way to cut a panel, but I wanted to make sure this panel was absolutely square, so that it would make sure it squared my case. My case turns out to be square anyway, but that was the idea of it. Trimming our project with some of this deck wood that was so warped we couldn't use it on our last deck project. And just like the dados or the rabbits, I need to round this over. Oh man, this stuff's dusty. I need to round this over with a router. So I'm going to mark it, make sure that I don't round over the wrong side. I'm gluing this trim on and nailing it. I'm using 16 gauge 2-inch brads to nail it. Could have taken better care there. And there's our little Carcass. My notebooks will fit right in there like that. Now what we need to do is put some legs on it. I don't like it sitting down like that. So we're going to put some splayed legs on it. So got to remember that this is the top and this is the bottom. What I'm doing here is putting the pocket holes in. These legs are going to be splayed angled legs. I'll show you how to make those in a second, and I'm making them one at a time, and I'll show you how they go on and how you make them. I'm putting them on here loosely right now. Because sometimes you gotta move them around a little bit to get them to fit right. So I cut one of the angles, and I bring it over here to the piece. Now these are cut at a 7-degree angle, and I come over here to the piece and mark where I want this angle. This angle is going to come up here through like that. This little jig I use, these boards here are attached at 7 degrees. So this thing, the leg piece is leaned backwards 7 degrees. So when I cut this 45, it puts an automatic compound angle on that corner there. Now you can see that's a perfect fit. And if I zoom you in, you'll see right where I put that little pencil mark right there. Okay, I'll put the pocket holes in this one and be on a roll. Okay, what I'm doing now is finishing these flared angled legs, and I'm cutting these notches out right here. Let me show you, I'm actually working on this leg right here. Let's go look at it. This is one of those jobs where it doesn't matter so much what you do, as long as you make it the same on all 4 legs. First thing, I got this scrap of wood that cuts, that kind of shows me where the top of my pocket screws are, so I'll run into them. Then I measure 4 inches here and 6 inches here, 4 inches here and 6 inches here. And then I get a fairly big radius here, because if the radius is too small, it's too hard to cut with I'll use a jigsaw. You could cut these with a bandsaw or whatever you wanted to. You could do it before you put them on there, but it's easier this way. Then you just follow the lines. Here you can see what I mean about making them the same. I've already done this one down here, and if I made this distance, you're tempted to make it a shorter distance because this side of the table is shorter, or this side of the box is shorter. But that would make this look stupid. These need to be the same length. Otherwise, it'll look off balance. Well, first time I thought about finishing this thing. Can't imagine it's going to look good. Got about 5 different kinds of wood. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to stain the bare wood. I'll leave all the rest of it alone. Well, here's our little bookshelf. Memphis Monday 412. We used up all that scrap wood we claimed out of that television stand. It actually made a real good bookshelf. It's a little heavy, but it worked good. We put rabbet joints in the corners. We have splayed angle legs. Now, didn't we say on one of our projects a few weeks ago that we were never going to use this white pine for these legs again? Why don't you guys remind me of that? Because that looks pretty bad. But considering all this wood is recycled, it turned out all right. And we still have top space on top to accumulate junk. So overall, I'm pretty satisfied. Well, I've done this for another Memphis Monday 412. Today I think we, learned how to make this little book. We've made other bookcases before. That's the first time we ever made one that small. We got to use up all that remnant material that we salvaged from that old TV stand. We discovered that wood, that composite press board stuff, works real good. I mean, it cut perfect rabbet joints and dados and real clean cuts. The wood, it doesn't twist and bend. It's wonderful stuff to work with, but don't ever, ever, ever get it wet. Game over if it gets wet. And it's very heavy too. But anyway, I'm gonna probably let that dry for a couple days and try to get some kind of finish on it. But I just needed to put my odds and ends books in there and so forth. Well, anyway, like and favorite and sharing all the stuff you do on the internet. But most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.